Good evening. And I realize right up front that Profiling Evil has got a major stream on right now. So I wanted to go ahead and do it anyway because I already planned it and it's hard for me to change it once I put it in the system. So I'll probably pick up some viewers later on. And plus, it won't be too long tonight on this. I'm going to address on what happened today and some of that, what they reported last night with Andy and how he was having a really rough time getting the sheriff's department to take apparently the dog hits seriously, because Profiling Evil actually said that he was actually staying at one of these places by himself overnight in hopes of getting a sheriff's team out there in the morning. And they did come. Now, last night on Profiling Evil, they were saying that the sheriff came, his deputies came down and said, "We got this." Well, I don't know what that "we got this" means, but I know that after they said that, the sheriff's department, and I'll show you, got bombarded with people just really saying, what is this? Y'all, you trying to cover up something. I trusted you. I worked my tail off to get this done. And they just really, I read through these and they were not nice to the sheriff or any of their law enforcement personnel about why they were not going where Andy was and taking it more seriously. This is their Facebook page. And if you want to read some emails out there, and I guarantee you that was a reason today that they really got on the ball and got out there and searched the place. There was 3 spots. I think one was where Barry had planted some trees that they had an alert. The riverbank wall, they had an alert out there also. And finally, the property, what we thought was Barry Morfin's property that he bought out there at Longhorn Subdivision, or I think it's Longhorn, but it wasn't, according to the sheriff, it was not property that he owned. But now I want to talk about that one a little bit more, because there's some really funny things that we need to consider about that. That I know most of y'all will probably go over and watch PE when I'm through, and I don't blame you. I do myself most of the time. But the tree was alerted by the same dog, I think, or a similar dog that I'm going to say the same dog as the riverbank. And I don't understand when we'll go over what the sheriff said in his message on his Facebook page, but they said basically they didn't find any evidence or anything that would lead them to conclusion that anything was buried under there, which I'm not sure they ever excavated that or even took the wall down. That's not what it sounded like in the email, because the dog did not give a active alert. He gave a passive alert, which I don't know what the difference is for those. I've been around dogs that alert for drugs and alert for bombs, but I have never been around a true cadaver dog with alerts for cadaver, the smell of a human decomposing body. This is something that really needs to be addressed at the Morphew, what we believe is out there near the Morphew property. Profiling Evil Chris on his Twitter page showed this picture of this guy that was taking pictures of. He is obviously wearing a wig. He's wearing a hat. He's wearing glasses. And my question is, why was he out there watching that, the operation at the last location? Were they really scared that they were going to find something out there? Because that's what it looks like to me, that maybe that whole area needs to be run with a dog out there. Because why would you dress up in a total disguise? I mean, this is obvious. I mean, there's no doubt that's a wig and a mask. Don't know who this guy is. They're trying to find out. But obviously, he was up there looking to find out what they found, if anything. What did they find at that location? The Daily Mail, this is their report on this particular thing, where they talked about this FBI, CSI, is teams were preparing to dig on the plot of land owned by the Colorado mom's husband. However, the sheriff's department says it was not the husband's. So obviously it was around in that area of the husband's. But a couple more pictures that I got off Twitter of the profiling evil Chris from there. He posted this. They were moving some of the big rocks with this tractor, and the FBI supposedly was out there. But this is the picture that kind of got everybody kind of excited. This guy was taking a picture of something, and the other guy was writing it down. It just makes you think, why would you take a picture of maybe an empty hole? I don't know. But he really is kind of focusing his lens there with a flash. So I don't know. That's just really confusing. That one is. Longhorn Ranch District, vacant site, several lots, one which was owned by Suzanne's husband, Barry. I'm not sure if that's just really confusing. That one is. I can't hear.
I did it. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know. It looks like he's focusing on something other than dirt. To me, it's really confusing about it. But the biggest area that I think tells me something is that maybe in that area is this guy right here. Why is he out there? Why is he watching what they dig up? Why is he in disguise? Maybe they didn't dig the right spot out there. Maybe, that's a big area. Maybe there was something else buried out there. If he is one of the Morphews, if he is one of Barry's kinfolk, or I'm not saying he is, but if he is, then that's a big telling sign right there. Why is he in disguise, and why is he out there watching the dig? I don't know. We need to find out, if possible, who this is.
James wants to know, when a dog is hit, does it mean it's human remains only, or can it be animal remains also?
No, they're trained human-only remains, and they train a lot of them at the Tennessee Body Farm up there in Tennessee, where they have corpses laying in various stages of decay, and they study them through the various flies and maggots, and they only do human remains. They do not do animal remains. This is a copy I got also from this. Let me see. This is Another Day in the Car. There, she had this that told the parcel number and the lot number of the subdivision plat up there of a very Morphew owns, and also the price he paid for it, $165,000, was Zilla's quote of it, of just the lot.
Karen says, "Is that Trevor Noel?"
I don't know. That's been brought up. If it's Trevor or not, I can't recognize him. I wouldn't be able to say yes, it was him. It was him. But just think about this. Why? I just want to know why he was up there watching in disguise a dig in this area. That would make me think that area is probably where it's at, where something is buried, and not necessarily just that one spot. That's a huge area out there. And I'm wondering if they need to take some dogs out there and run them all over the place out there. Because, why would you have somebody that's related to you, or possibly somebody you've got, a friend, if it's connected to Barry, if it's connected to him, if they can find out who it is, then that would be a big, big red flag to me.
Somebody said, Miss BB says, there's a photo of Trevor Noel online and he's wearing the same hat.
Well, that could be, or it could be somebody that, is trying to throw something off. I just don't, just because he's wearing the hat, maybe, but it also may be somebody that knows that, you know what I mean? It may be somebody that knows that Trevor wore that hat and gets another hat like that. And I would just like to, he's wearing his mask down with the nose exposed, so the nose is pretty prevalent. And maybe somebody can take a picture and enhance it and see if that is possibly him. I don't know. I just simply think that why put somebody out there that's in disguise watching this dig? That's what I say. That's something it's very suspicious to me. Big red flag to me. The sheriff came out with this. Sheriff's Department with a private search by Andrew Morphy concluding September 29, 2020, Susan Morphew Missing Person Investigation Task Force, consisting of FBI, and I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm going to go over it here. CBI and the Judicial District Attorney's Task Force, part of the task force. They basically wanted to do a recap. As a report previously, the law enforcement team responded to collect several pieces of possible evidence found by searchers across the county, continue to follow up, determine if there's any connection with Susan's disappearance. It said also this week, members of the law enforcement task force responded to a report of human remains trained dog alerting on 3 separate properties within Chaffee County. To clarify, none of these properties are owned by members of the Morphew family. Now, I guess I don't know why they threw that in there. One of the locations investigated by the task force along the Arkansas River in the county, the dog handler used on the private property was interviewed. Now, here's the issue I see. They interviewed the handler, okay, by the team and explained that the dog did not alert. And he puts that in quotations, alert, to anything on the property, but did show interest. And, that in itself, showing interest can be an alert, especially if a dog shows interest in a drug search. If he shows interest, that could be a part of the alert. Law enforcement obtained consent for the property owner, and after further investigation, including working with a private human remains dog on the property, it was determined that it was not viable lead in the case. Now, they're not saying that they examined the wall. That's not what they're saying. So obviously they probably ran the dog around it again and did not feel that the alert or the interest was strong enough to investigate. I just don't know. It did not, to me, it doesn't, they may have took the rock wall down, but it doesn't appear to, reading this, it does not appear to that they examined it. I mean, they determined that it was not a viable lead. Second, the property near Morphew's house, when I'm thinking this may be where he planted the trees, was investigated, and after the same dog team alerted in the area on the private property, our investigators immediately upon being notified secured the scene and provided around-the-clock security until investigation of Chaffee Sheriff's Department, FBI, and CBI arrived. Location of interest, private property, they got consent, investigated it extensively. Now, they're saying they investigated extensively here. They probably removed the tree that were planted, all 3 of the trees, and then replanted them. If they've, but the first one didn't say that. See, they didn't say they investigated it extensively. They just said, after talking with the handler again and going over it and again, and they didn't find it to be a viable lead. So that tells me they probably did not take the wall down, in my opinion. They did, but I'd like to know if they did or not. But they didn't say we extensively investigated it. And then they said they found found to have evidentiary significance to the case. We investigated and members of the task force and found to see, where did I say that? Consent of the property owner, location of interest, private property with consent of the property owner, investigated extensively by members of the task force and found to have no evidentiary significance to the case. Okay. In the second page here, or they went on down in the page, the third location. This is out there where they had the dog hit. Third had also identified as unincorporated Chaffee County near this I can never pronounce that word.
Salida.
Salida on private property where different pair of human remained dogs alerted. Now they're saying they alerted. Also, once alerted, our team responded immediately. Well, that's not quite what they're saying last night on Profiling Evil. They said that it says here they provided security around the clock. Where Profiling Evil said that Andy was out there and that he was securing it, not the police. That they almost had to beg the police to go out there. Which I'm gonna tell you, it hurts me. It hurts me to criticize law enforcement because I'm retired law enforcement. It hurts me too. But if he had to basically beg them to come search that property or try to get the news media involved or something, then shame on them. That's all I'm saying. They should never have to do it. I hope that this is correct, that they did send a team out there and work it around the clock. Barry shouldn't have to do that. This morning, our team, along with the FBI and CBI, with the consent of the property owner, excavated the location, and once again, nothing of evidentiary value of Susan Morphew's case was located. But the big thing is, why did they have somebody in a disguise watching the dig? That's what I want to know. That just tells me somebody was nervous about something they were going to find. It don't mean just because they didn't find it out there that it wasn't out there. The Susan Morphew Missing Person Investigating Task Force, and they go on to say about how that they're still working the case hard and unprecedented, unparalleled, that the public may not see the effort that they're putting forth, but assure the community the investigation continues to move forward. And, I believe that. I believe it. But the thing that bothers me is, why did Andy, last night they were talking about trying to get a hold of a senator to get somebody out there, the press to get out there. Why? I just don't understand. Is who's telling the truth in this situation? I mean, something's not right. Says that basically, since he's been missing on May 10th, they did 1,123 total tips called in, including hang-ups and duplicates, 180 interviews conducted in Colorado and Indiana and other locations, and does not take into account the hundreds of contacts made between the investigators and individuals as a part of the case since May. 130 searches concluded, including warrants, which remain sealed at this time, and 4,000 hours spent task force investigating the case. 130 searches. I don't, where were those searches done? Only ones that the sheriff's department said before that they hadn't done any searches since about July.
Okay. Lori says, because it's America and anyone can stand on a public road and observe police conduct at any time they choose. So she may be misunderstanding.
I'm not complaining that somebody's watching it. You can sit out there and watch any police investigation you want to, as long as you do not interfere. What my thing is this. You think about this. If it was, say it was Barry Morphew's cousin or relative, okay? And he is in disguise. Why? Because he knows the police will see somebody from Barry Morphew's family out there trying to watch the search. I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to do it. I just think it's very suspicious that why you dress up in disguise. If you don't have any problem with it, go stand out in the road and let everybody know who you are. I just think it's very suspicious. If it was, why the disguise? And why you out there watching it? I mean, it looks like something's buried out there and they're trying to watch if they find it or not. That's my opinion. I don't know. He has a right to stand out there. Anybody can. As long as they don't interfere, no problem with that. But you don't understand what the point I'm trying to make. If it is their family member all right, let's just, for instance, if Barry sent him out there to watch what happened, where they dug, if they found anything, and he is in disguise, so people won't know about it, I think that's a big red flag.
Okay, can I say it's kind of like somebody starting a fire and then going back when
Yeah,
the fire
that's exactly.
gets there to watch
It's
it
like
burn.
the arsonist that starts the fire and then goes back and watches it burn. It's very suspicious to me. That's a good point.
Thank you very much.
Very good point.
I did learn something.
You did learn something. But you see what I'm saying? Sure, he has a right to do it, but most people do it not in disguise and not, when you got this type of investigation going where a lot of the circumstantial evidence is looking like it could be someone close to her, and you got some guy out there in total disguise watching an area being excavated for possible remains. That is a huge red flag to me.
Okay, and if it were me and I were the police, I would at least go talk to that person and just touch base with them. Just touch
you never know. I mean, you have a right. A police officer has a right to talk to somebody, and he can ask for ID. And if he was doing anything suspicious, but regardless, it's just. He could follow him for that matter. There's nothing wrong as long as they go down the same road. Very well could follow him.
But you know what? What if it wasn't Barry that killed her and this was the real killer out there watching?
If it's not Barry, just say we don't know for sure if it's Barry or not. But say this is not Barry, not Barry's cousin. It's not Barry's friend, and we did have a real true abduction. That she was abducted on that road by a stranger. Abduction. And this was him watching this dig over there. Wouldn't you be suspicious of someone watching in a complete disguise? I'm telling you, folks, it's a huge red flag to me.
They probably checked it. Rhonda says Ellie knows to look at the people that are curious because they do return to the scene of a crime.
Yeah, and it's just, that's a huge, big red flag to me. I mean, it would be a lot easier. I mean, we might say, yeah, look at there. Trevor's out there watching the dig, But if you got somebody in total disguise like that, it very well could be the actual person that did something to her. You don't know.
Juanita says, but the person supposedly disguised was out in the open. I'd be hidden with a telephoto lens.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. But, you got to wonder who this guy is. You know what I mean?
Or girl.
But it looks like a guy. But it just, body frame and everything looks like a guy to me. But it just is very suspicious. And look, I hate coming down on the police department. But I was so aggravated last night because Profile and Eva were saying that Andy was out there basically trying to get somebody to come out and try to secure that possible scene and try to get somebody to look for the remains after this dog alerted, and that's probable cause. But whatever. I don't know how they did, but they finally did. They finally rattled the right cage and they got the right people out there. But it's a shame it had to go that far. I mean, it is. I imagine the senator got a call that the senator that was said that he would make sure that he had something done, or the sheriff got a call from somebody. But something happened and they got out there pretty quick if they secured that scene. So that's a good thing. Either way, that's a good thing. I guess we'll find out. Maybe Profile and Evil, when you leave here, you go over there and you find out. But I just think that if they find out, I really would love to know who the guy was and the dressed up like that. because to me, that's a big red flag for sure. Now, where does it go from here? Andy needs answers. Where does it go from here? Does he quit
No.
today? On this search, does he leave this time or does he continue on? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. It'll be on Profiling Evil, or Andy will come out and say. I think they were supposed to stop today, but I'm not sure what the deal is. But regardless, the investigation will continue. But what is Andy's next step? I don't know. I don't know. A lot of times the family of a missing person, if they think they have enough evidence, will sue to get everything brought out, like they sued a civil court for wrongful death. And, they may not have enough to prove it in criminal court, but they may have enough evidentiary stuff to prove it in civil court. I personally don't think he does right now, but that may come down the road like they did OJ. OJ was found not guilty, but they sued him in civil court for wrongful death and got a verdict for the plaintiff, which I think they, fined him like $30 million, but he just basically lived in Florida where they can't get his property. I don't know. It's very interesting, and those things have been weighing on me today. I know that I watched Plunders earlier. I followed Chris from Profiling Evil. I watched several others to see if we could find out something, and then the sheriff department put this out. So, I don't know. I don't even know if they found anything. They just said no evidentiary. I'll tell you what I first thought when they were having so much trouble getting the sheriff's department to go out and look at these areas where their dogs alerted. I thought they already had the body somewhere, already knew where the body, you know what I mean? If they already discovered it at the first dig they first did, or they already, I thought maybe they already have put that out. Had this held back until they're going to prosecute who they're going to prosecute them. But, I don't know. Well, listen, I hate to cut it short tonight, but Profiling Evil obviously is on there. And a bunch of you, I'm sure, that want to go over there. And my son is here from Nashville. He's in and had some great news for us. And we're excited for him and his career. And we have a debate in about at 8 o'clock, too. I would encourage everybody to watch that. And vote in the upcoming election.
If you're in our country.
If you're in our country, vote.
Because there's people from all over the world.
Maybe if you're in your country, whenever your election. But that's a right that you ought to cherish vote. We may vote, is to exercise that right. So listen, go watch Profiling Evil. Tell him I sent you over there. And I know I went over last night and just somebody welcomed me from the chat, but they had a lot of good stuff on there, and I'm sure that they will. God bless all of y'all. We will see you. What day will we see them?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow night is Wednesday night.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow night, and then again on Friday. Unless something changes. If we have an arrest in this case or something breaking, I will come out just like I did on Monday night. But God bless all of y'all, and stay safe and well, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
And he owes you a story tomorrow night.
I owe y'all a story tomorrow night if I can think of all of them. But we'll see. Well, good night, y'all.